Okay, so this project I'm going to create a little maple bench stool. It's more going to be for like design for home decor, but it's also going to be used for like a little stool for kids or just, around the house. So this project is built mainly from leftover wood from other projects and minimal tools. So as you can see, I'm starting out with some maple slabs I have left over from other projects, and I'm marking out my rough cut measurements, and I'm going to cut it with with a circular saw. It doesn't have to be perfect, this cut. It's going to be a live edge, so this is just to size it up so it fits what I'm trying to do here. So it's really just, and there's the end cut, and that's the rough, how it's going to look. So now I'm cleaning up the edge with a scrape planer and sander. Thickness or close to the final thickness, and I find that it's not the most level piece of slab, obviously, so I'm going to put it onto my sled here, and I'm just going to put a little bead of heat glue with a little shim and just run it through this sled. So you can see here it's fixed, and so now I'm going to start marking out my leg cuts, and they're going to be about 1.5 inches thick in diameter. So I'm going to start doing that now, and then I will use the table saw. So here I'm going to cut the legs at about 11 inches, and this is going to be a rough cut because I'm going to cut a 10-degree angle on each end of each leg. So this is just the rough measurement cut right now. So the table itself is going to be about 13 inches high if you count the top, which is going to be just under 2 inches in thickness. So I'm just using a miter saw here. Okay, so here I'm going to be using my wood stream dowel jig. I'm going to be using 3/8 inch dowels, and they're going to be just pine. And everything I'm doing in this project is going to be just leftover wood I have in parts. So I'm not buying anything for this. It's all just offcuts and leftover pieces. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the dowel jig, and this is probably the most difficult part of the project. Not that anything's really that difficult with this. It's a pretty basic project, minimal tools. This just makes it easier for me to mount to the top without using a bunch of screws and pocket screws and things like that. So, and then here I'm going to use these little dowel pointers. These are pretty cool little things here. You can plug them into your hole, and then you can get your spot where you want to drill into the top, or to your aligning joint, your butt joint, whatever. These are good just for marking. And you can use a nail or something like that too. So people do that. That way you don't have to measure, and like I said, this has to be perfect because this is going to be an imperfect project, just a live edge, almost like a cute type of table for this is more just for looks, this table. So here I'm going to cut these tiny little stretchers, and this is just for added stability for the legs so they don't kind of bow inwards. I'm not putting any side aprons or front and back aprons on this project, just these little side stretchers here. So, and I'm going to screw in, and then I'm going to countersink with the forstner bit these holes and fill in with dowels later, as you'll see. Now I'm just routing each leg, each edge of each leg with a little chamfer bit here, and this just rounds them off and smooths out the edges. So here I am sanding the top more. As you can see little chips on the edges here from when I was cleaning it earlier. So I'm going to try to sand them out with an 80 grit. And then I'll work my way up to 120. Actually, I think I even use a little 220 at the very end. But that's just to clean up the chamfer edges, which I'll do on the top later. So here I'm also countersinking these screws in these stretchers that I cut earlier, and I'm going to put 2-inch screws into these, and then I'm going to fill those plugs with dowels, as you'll see a little later, and then cut the edges off with a little Japanese pull saw, like a little saw I have. So now it's time for the glue up. This is where pretty much everything is coming together, and we're going to use these dowels, plug them in, and mount everything and make sure everything's marked. And if you look at the bottom of this top, I do have markings where each leg is marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 through 4, and have like a little squared out drawing on the bottom, so I knew exactly where the legs were going to go. And as you see, I'm placing the legs in here, and it's going together pretty good. So this is where I screw in the legs into the stretchers that I spoke about earlier. So this is where I'm going to connect them. And really they're acting almost as clamps too, to hold these legs in place. So technically I could almost pull them out if I really needed to. Just put the dowels in. I've had a smaller dowel, I probably would have, because I'm going to force her out anyways. And here it is, the bench is together. So now we're going to wrap the top. I'm just going to round it over a little bit so it smooths out the edges a little bit. Nothing major here, because I don't want it to look like a perfectly square or fancy piece of furniture. This is just so nobody cuts their hands or whatever when they grab this bench, or if they're sitting down on it, they don't hit a rough edge. So this is just smoothing it out, clean it up now. So you see here I'm doing more sanding, and that's pretty much the theme of this project. There's a lot of sanding, especially with any kind of woodworking. I typically don't do these types of things. It's more like a craft project, and this is where I'm going to up to 120 grit. You'll see the end results. Okay, so now here I'm using the Forstner bit, and I'm using a 3/8 inch bit, and I'm going to kind of bore out where the screws are, and I'm going to plug that with a little pine 3/8 inch dowel, like I mentioned earlier, and cut off the edge. Okay, so here I'm going to use Total Boat epoxy resin and hardener, and I'm going to mix them. It's about 10 to 12 pumps each, and I'll do 2 coats of this. And I'll just mix it up for about 1 minute each time, and you'll see this is it was an option. I was going to just put polyurethane on it or even some Osmo, but I figured, my last couple stools I did the epoxy, and I think it's kind of cool because some people like to put these pieces of furniture outside even, so it's definitely better protection. And remember, it's very important to mix this for about a minute, maybe even longer, and it's 1 part per each for this mix I'm doing, so it's evenly mixed. So now I'm just going to use this little spreader, hand spreader, just to spread it on the top. And I'll also eventually use a little foam brush to get the bottom and sides and the legs. And this is always a messy project when you use epoxy. Always, protect yourself, wear gloves, wear a mask if you have one. It's pretty nasty stuff, but it definitely protects your furniture when you use it. I use it for most live edge furniture. So this is where I'm really ending this project. So now I'm going to burn any excess bubbles with a torch. It's not mandatory, but it definitely helps. You can also use a heat gun if you have one. So this project's pretty much done here. It's made with all scrap wood left over, and I let it dry overnight. And really, it's ready to go. I'll take this to like a craft fair or something like that, or I'll keep it, or give it as a gift. It's a cool little project. Thanks for watching.